So I'm picking up an energy where someone is having trouble dealing with an unrequited love. So you often blame yourself. Someone has been blaming themselves for everything. This person could have just did the most horrible thing to you recently, and you keep saying, you know what, it was my fault. I shouldn't have done this, or I shouldn't have done that. You keep blaming yourself, and Spirit is saying that you're not taking the time out to truly see where the problem is. Like, there's a root cause of the problem, and it's hard for you to see it because this person tends to make you feel as though something is always your fault. They never take accountability. They never say anything is their fault. So now you're stuck believing that everything that goes wrong is because of you. Now, this is a form of manipulation. This is that break them down, build them up manipulation that many who would call this type of behavior an attribute of someone who is a narcissist. Almost said someone who is narcissistic. But this energy has broken you down for so long that now it's so hard for you to see yourself. You can't see the image of you, and you haven't seen yourself in a long time. And I just heard you forgot about you. You forgot about your true nature, like how you normally behave yourself, how you normally feel. You've forgotten how it truly feels to be happy and smile. And it's because of your being in or around this person for so long, and you would rather stay with them because it could be many reasons why you're choosing to stay. But Spirit is wanting to remind you that you don't have to. I heard I have to be careful. So someone feels like they have to be careful, like they need protection. If you have someone that you trust, you can tell them how you truly feel. I know that sometimes, now I'm picking up an energy where people could be going through something in their relationship and they don't want to burden others. They don't want them to feel burdened by their burdens. You know what I mean? And I get that. I respect it, because sometimes people want to like trauma bond or use someone as a soundboard, but never can return the favor in any way. But when you have true people around you that, you know, actually care about you, I feel like it's a good practice to confide in those that care about you and that you care about. Okay? So some of you that know that your family or that your friends or whoever you can talk to that's in close proximity, you kind of know from just knowing the individuals around you how they would behave towards you, or how they would behave or react towards the situation in general, because you know their temperament. So you can imagine what they would say. But there's something about some of you feeling like, you know, I'm hearing my mom, she's feisty. If I tell her that about my person, then she's not going to like them anymore, and they kind of have a good relationship, so I don't want her to dislike my person. But is that healthy for you? For the ones that you love not to know that you're suffering in silence? Is that a healthy thing? Because what if something goes left and they never know about how you truly felt? I heard nurturing a truly loving relationship is also allowing yourself to be free to vent to those who you know can hear you and do acknowledge you. Because I feel like some of you might have a situation where you feel like you don't have anyone to talk to, and that's understandable. I understand sometimes it's like that. But this message is very specific because it's talking to someone who does have a few people around that they know would listen, but you don't want to tell them. It could be because you feel embarrassed, maybe, or it could be because you just don't want to burden anybody. And I feel like it's, for this reading, it feels more so that, even though it could be a few other things, but more so it feels like I don't want to burden anybody with my problems. Meanwhile, the ones that love you are like, why you didn't tell me? Like, I could have helped you figure this out. Like, we could have did this together. You know I love you. Like, you know that energy, like, you know I love you. You know I care about you. And it's almost like when you love someone that much, when someone you love is going through something, then it's like you feel like you're going through it. And then you want to do everything that you can to help, even if it's not grandiose. Like, you know, even if it's not so much, sometimes just the communication between two souls is enough to help someone to make the right decision for themselves. And maybe that's something that you want to think about. Just being able to open up to someone that could understand you. Because to be in a relationship that's toxic and to force yourself to stay in it and to not even have the ability to imagine yourself outside of the relationship, that can cause so many mental health issues. You know, that's just what I think about, because being broken down and built up, and then sometimes broken down, built up a little bit, that is traumatic. That is the smoke is all up in my throat, even though I want it on, but anyway, yeah, the breaking down of one's soul and character and building it back up, and not for good purposes but to control, that is one of the most traumatic experiences one can have, and it is something that can have a long-lasting effect on someone's mind, to the point where they'll become incapable of making decisions on their own. They'll become codependent on everyone who's willing to give them a little bit of attention, because that little bit of attention seems like a big deal just because they've been ignored and disrespected on a regular basis. So then that person can also become very clingy and not know how to give people space. And then that can cause those that could help you, it will cause them to want to distance themselves if you do begin to behave that way, because then they're going to feel overwhelmed when someone's in this energy. And this is the reason why it's important that you recognize when you're feeling like you're being broken down and built back up, you know, or just maybe just broken down all the time by the person. Maybe there's no real build up, or it'll be like that fake build up where they'll be like saying you're not doing something right. I'm just giving examples. Saying you're not doing this, that, right. It's your fault that we argue all the time. It's your fault that it's your fault that I cheated on you. Damn, that's rough. If somebody said that to you, that could be very hurtful, and that could trigger a whole lot in one's mind to think that you're the reason. I mean, sometimes, I just feel like if you feel like you have to cheat, then just break up, right? That's just how I feel. But some people can spite the other, and then some people spite for no reason. You know what? I'm going to tell you guys something because it just came to me. Was that yesterday? Yesterday, I think it was yesterday. I went to this store I like to go to get a green juice, right? It's a little expensive. I need a juicer because it was $9, and I was like, that's a lot. But anyway, let me get back on track. I was about to get out the car, and I was talking to my sister, and then I was about to get out the car, and I looked over and I saw this woman looking at me, and she gave me a gentle smile, but her eyebrows looked sad. Like, I don't know that's the best way I can explain. And it was just a quick observation that I saw as soon as I hopped out the car. But her face was pretty. She was an older woman, but she had her makeup done, but it was lightly done. I love light makeup. I don't like when it's thick and caked up. I like when it's light and it's so, like, gentle. And, you know, I like that soft look. So, that's how her makeup looked. And I said, oh, you look so beautiful. You look very pretty today. And she said, oh, thank you. But I just felt something on her, like she was bothered. But I just was like, I don't know, maybe it's just cold, because it was cold outside. And she was at the bus stop. So I went to go get, you know, my order. Went to go pick it up. And when I come back out of the little restaurant, I see two officers speaking to her. And I made eye contact with them, and they said hello to me. I said hello. And then I just got in the car. And then, you know, I was still there because I was adjusting myself and talking and whatever. And I looked over at her, and I was about to say have a good day, but then she started to speak to me. And she said, you know, I got so nervous because they came over here to talk to me, and I thought they was going to arrest me. I don't want to get arrested again. She said, I don't want to get arrested again. Like, I don't want to do that. I was like, oh my goodness. And I was like, you thought they were going to arrest you? And then she said, yes, because this happened already. I've been having so much trouble with my husband. I guess, yeah, the person is still her husband. She said, I've been having so much trouble with my husband. And then I'm just listening to her because I could tell she just needed to speak. I don't know this woman. I've never seen her before in my life. That was the first time. And she said, my husband, he's been cheating on me. And you know what? If he wants to be bisexual, he can go ahead and do whatever he wants to do. I just want him to leave me alone. She said, I just want my peace. And she was like, he's using his money against me. He's using his money against me. And I just asked him to fill out the divorce papers, and he won't do it. And yet he's still out doing what he wants to do and mistreating me. And it's like he's trying to hold on to me. And I just want him to just go. It's like, she's like, to this point, she was like, yeah, I'm hurt and I'm sad, but I want my peace. And she was like, I don't wish bad on him. You know, I still pray for him, she said. I still pray for him, and I want the best for him. But she said, I feel like people are following me. He has people following me to see where I'm going and what I'm doing. And she said, I feel paranoid all the time. And I was just feeling her pain because I could feel it on her. You know, she was just so sad and distraught. And she was telling me that she's been dealing with this for so long, and she just wants out. She just wants a way out, and she doesn't know how. She said she wants to move away, and she doesn't want him to know where she is. But even though they're not in a relationship and this man mistreats her, he still wants to have access to her. He still wants her in some type of way. Maybe it's just a control thing. That's what it feels like to me, because why else? If you're dealing with, you know, whoever you're dealing with, why not just sign the divorce papers? But, you know, that's that narcissistic stuff. Like, because you're not with the person anymore, but you want to still have complete control over them. You still want to use them to your advantage for your, you know, intimate desires, you know, when it comes to sexual desires that you may have sometimes. It was given that energy, like he just wanted to pick her up and put her down when he felt like it. And she just kept on saying, he's using his money against me. But she was like, I don't want it. I don't even want it. She was like, he can have it. It's not even like I'm worried about that. She said, I just want to be at peace. I love God so much, and I pray all the time, and I do right by people, and I really don't know how I got into this situation, but I just don't want to deal with it anymore. You know, and I gave her some kind words, and you know, to encourage her and help her to know that she's doing the right thing by putting her faith and her energy and directing it towards not only herself, but the God within her. And then her bus came, and she was like, you know, I'm so happy that God sends people right on time, because there's not many people that are good people that you could just feel comfortable to speak to. She said, I just want to thank you so much. I have to go, but I just want to thank you. She told me her name, and I told her mine. And then she left. But her energy seemed lighter when she walked off, even though, you know, she still has stuff on her mind. But this is the energy I'm talking about. And it's funny that Spirit gave me this download, because I wasn't even thinking about that incident until I started speaking. And then it came up, and it actually goes with this message. And there's just so many people that are going through things just like that. And These are the types of situations that you have to stay strong in, no matter how weak you feel. Because as soon as you give up on yourself, you can really lose out on a beautiful future if you give up on yourself. You have to continue to believe that things will get better and hold on to that belief. The more you hold on to that belief that things are going to improve and get better, the faster it could happen, because that's how powerful our minds are. We have very powerful minds, and what we speak actually comes into existence, and it happens in our lives. And if you want to bring it down to a more practical way of thinking about it, say for instance there's something that you want to make at home for dinner for your family, and you're like, I want to make this, but I don't have all the ingredients. So you think, okay, what ingredients do I need? Okay, take note. You go to the store, you get it, you do the action. You take the action, you go get the things that you need, then you come back, you prepare it, and then it's done. That's a manifestation, really, because it's the same thing with anything, though. You do the thing, you think about the thing, right? First of all, you plan the thing, and then you get everything that you need to make it happen, and then you implement. You actually start to do it. You start to take each step to make that thing become. And then once you do that, once you take all these steps, eventually you'll be done, and you did it. So it's the same thing when it comes to circumstances, relationships. It's the same thing. It's the same method. It's just your willpower that you use to activate it, to activate yourself to accomplish the task successfully. It's the same thing. It's all the same. Maybe there's certain things that are a little more difficult to complete, because certain steps could be more complex sometimes, and that's fine. And then you could break down one step into multiple steps, and then it just becomes an incremental type thing, and it's not so scary. So this is how I want you all to start thinking about your situations, even if it is you feeling like bad about yourself, or thinking that you're the reason why things are going wrong all the time. If someone is projecting that energy onto you, making you feel as though it's your fault. Someone who is has a healthy mind, they're also going to be able to look at themselves and say, you know what, I did do that. My fault, my apologies for that. I'm going to work on that. They can actually own up to what they did wrong and have a desire to want to improve it, because they value the relationship with you. But if you have someone that keeps on saying, oh, you did that, and you did this and that and this and that, and I don't want you coming back until you get it right, and tonight don't ask me for nothing. If it's that energy, and then it's like, oh, you always get the cold shoulder on a regular basis, it's always that same thing, you already know that is toxic and it's unhealthy. Even if there is an argument, because sometimes arguments can get heated, that's the thing. Sometimes that can happen. But somebody has to be the one to, and I feel like it should be both people. It's very nice when you're in a healthy, balanced relationship, because either one person or the other person is going to be like, okay, let's really calm down and start in a certain spot. Let's talk about this, because you said this was bothering you. Tell me why it's bothering you. And then Kimble your mouth as be as strong as you can to listen to the person and what they're telling you, because that's listening can help you to respond in a way to where you understand, and you know what questions you need to ask after. That's just like a healthy way. But when the energy is high and angry and frustrated, it's so hard. It's so hard to get to a common ground. And if the energy is just too high, you just need some time apart to think by yourself and come back later. It's that type of energy. But if this person is just difficult and there is no compromising, there is no communication, and this is just a person that's like, oh, what I say goes, but they're not willing to listen to you in a relationship, and they don't acknowledge your emotional state or your feelings and your thoughts, that's not a real relationship. That's just toxic. So I don't want you to continue to fault yourself for things that you did not do. And even if you did do something, because sometimes we do things wrong and we make mistakes, and that's fine. But it's about growing from it and not being on this continual wheel of doing the same thing that caused the problem over and over again. The key is to learn from it and then stop, right? Stop doing it. Let me replace these things with this thing, and then I will be better. I will feel better. I will communicate better, right? Like, that's just this energy that I'm feeling right now. Because I know many of you are stuck in a place where and some of you could be missing someone just because you're holding on to the good memories, which is fine, because that's a normal thing. But if this person is not good for you, and you know that there's more bad memories as opposed to good memories, or toxic memories as opposed to uplifting memories, is that really what you want, or are you just lonely? Is that really what you want, or do you just feel discomfort sitting by yourself and you still can't find a way to feel comfort by yourself? Because if that's the case, activities would be good for someone like you. If you don't like being alone, get yourself out there. And it's easier said than done. I know, because I'm a hermit. But when I'm out, I still don't, it doesn't stop me from communicating, But I just want you guys to know that there are ways, but you just have to believe that there are ways, instead of telling yourself, oh, I'm just stuck. The more you tell yourself, I'm just stuck, the more you're going to be stagnant, and you're going to stay in a space that you're not happy in. And your spirit team does not want that for you. God does not want that for you. God wants you to be able to navigate out any situation with strength, perseverance, and love for oneself. I always say, when you love yourself, there's a lot of things that people have done to you or that are doing to you now that you will not tolerate. And being around people that break you down all the time, you'll forget how to love yourself, because you'll be so busy trying to appease them, trying to stop them from, or how can I put this? Trying to stop them for creating some type of reason to argue with you or start some type of commotion. But that's not you. See, that's them. And they'll trick you into believing that you're the one who's causing them to behave that way. That's not always true. If you really look at yourself and what you do you do anything wrong to that person? Is there anything that you're doing that you know is wrong? Because we're grown. You know when you're doing something that's shady. And if you can honestly say, I'm just trying to love that person, I'm just trying to be there for them, I just want to communicate with them, but they don't want to talk to me. Every time I try to talk, they act like they have something better to do. Every time I talk, they don't want to hear me, or they tell me they don't got time, all these things. And it's like, you just want to get it off your chest, and it's just stuck inside of you. I heard in a smoldering. So it's like you feel that you have so much to say but no outlet, because the person that I heard that you love the most is not loving you back, or not giving you the acknowledgement that you give them. Because when they speak, I'm hearing that you listen, but then when it's time for you to speak, they're not there the same way for you. So Spirit is just basically saying, planning to elevate yourself out of this situation is the best. When I looked at the clock, it said 2400. I'm going to look up that angel number. But anyway, and that's my birthday. Always happens to me. But know that you have the control over your life. You have the ability to get yourself out of situations that you feel weak in. It's possible. It's just about planning and not being fearful to share your situation with individuals around you. And if you're one person who doesn't want to burden others, which is, I get it, I understand, that's understandable, and I feel like that is very respectable of you, to not want to burden people, because everybody has their own things going on, no matter what it is. But just say, you know, there's something I really need to talk about. Like, can you be a soundboard for me? Like, can I talk to you? Can I just tell you? Because, you know, I trust you. Can I tell you? And then talk to the person. If they say no, then okay, at least you tried. But Spirit is saying, like, there is someone that could be around some of you that you can communicate with. But if not, you know, you do what you can to make the moves that you need to make. You look for outside resources if you don't have any that come to mind on your own. And you know, use the, I heard the World Wide Web. Use the internet to give you some pointers on directions that can assist you within your circumstances. Okay? Because sometimes you just need a little information that you didn't have before. And resources can go a long way for someone who feels like they don't have an option when there are resources that could be out there that could help you. But you just have to search for them. And that's really doing the work for yourself. That's putting in some effort for yourself to get some results that you desire to have by taking a step forward. Okay? So that's just taking action and being diligent towards the change that you want to see in your own life. Okay, my love, so that's all I have for you. Everything you do, do it with love. Always remember the creator is in you and the magic is too, because you are magic. Much love to you. I'll see you in the next video. I've written a book, and this book is an eagle's perspective of my journey. However, in a very profound way, my journey is also your journey, because we go through the same steps to try to understand why we're here, what is our purpose, and where are we going, and what should we actually be connected to, what's real and what's not, what's true and what's false, right? So this book that I've written gives you a roadmap to get to the place where you have been created to be.